Welcome back. You're watching Big Deal and we are discussing the omni-channel retail play and how it's reached an inflection point and what lies ahead. Lalit Agarwal is with us. Lalit, we discussed several aspects and the combination and collaborating between the two platforms. And it is still new, even though it's been happening for the last few years. I want to understand in terms of balancing the return matrices, the financial performance between the offline and online, how do you work out the right mix, and how much of a difference of customer acquisition cost and other important financial matrices make between the two platforms?
Nisha, this is right now the biggest challenge for the online retail world in India, especially, where we are seeing a very, very distorted culture, where customers have got real benefits from funded companies, private equity funded and funds driving those losses for their balance sheet, and they have been giving all those kind of easiness and comfort for the customers to do all sort of mischievous things, which in terms of returns. So that's the biggest pain area for online retailer, and that's the biggest pain area even for the omni retailer, so as to say. But yeah, slowly and gradually, I think things are coming back to action. Most of the online companies are realizing it, and most of the funds are also tightening their funds towards positive growth and towards profitable growth. And that becomes a better opportunity for all the retailers now, because if there is a level playing field for all kind of retailers, then is the area where we can actually sustainably grow in a profitable manner. Today, there are returns up to between 20 to 35% for different kind of segment of product, especially in fashion. And that's the biggest pain area for most of the retailers in online. And that's the biggest cost also for your team. So that's the area which we are trying to work on. Largely, it is also dependent upon the retailer, and then it is dependent upon also upon the environment in which the retail is being done and how is the customer behaving in similar environment. So that's what we have to work on. To the point that you said here, I think it's more important that how do you increase the speed of product reaching the customer, and how do you increase decrease the cost of product reaching the customer. So that's where we use the V-Mart offline doors as the distribution center to the customer, and the nearest store to the customer should be the delivery point or should be the feeding point for the customer and for our store. So that's the algorithm that one has to work on, so that you become nearer to the customer and faster to the customer, so the customer do not change their mind or neither the cost is too high. So that's how you can actually bring in profitability, and that's the path that V-Mart is taking an approach after integrating with LimeRoad. And apart from that, on the customer acquisition piece, I think once you have told that you are an omni retailer, largely your offline customer, which is coming in, looking at the brand, which is looking at your trust level, looking at the kind of services that you have offered, the kind of quality that you have offered. So you build a brand trust and you build a brand persona. And how do you just take that persona to the online channel and give them a better opportunity through omni, so that the customer now becomes a much more loyal customer to you, decreasing the cost of acquisition. Because if you just go for online acquisition, e-commerce acquisition, there is a huge acquisition cost, because you are definitely captured by all these mafias of online world, which is Facebook and Amazon and maybe Google. And how do you just cut down from that and build your own community? If you build your own community, you will actually bring down the cost of customer acquisition. That's what we do in the offline space, and that's what we need to replicate while we are getting into the omni space. And that's the opportunity area which the online retailer will have a very, very huge difficulty in getting onto.
I think you figured what my next question was going to be, the intense competition. And of course, the big boys have really made their way to this particular space. So the competition is going to be very intense. Rahul, any final words on this discussion, the way forward for the consumption theme with the combination of both the platforms?
No, so I think Lalitji hit the nail on the head when he talks about brand being such an important centric mode of how you shop, right? So let's take Reliance for example. Burberry, Hugo, Bottega, Jimmy Choo. These are not brands. I mean, generally the consumer of these brands wants the store experience. So you may visually look at these stores on a Reliance app or a Tira app or whatever, but you will want to go and shop. Obviously,
but shopping in these stores, and I'm telling you with my personal experience, Rahul, is also an experience.
Exactly
if you're talking about the big brands.
Exactly
and of
my
course,
point.
the margins are much higher, so they can have the brick and mortar stores.
Absolutely. So that was my point. So when you have brands like these, you want it to be more offline. You don't want it to be online. Similarly, there are portfolios within the Reliance brand where they'd want it to be more online, right?
Yes.
So I think the final point I'm trying to make, Nisha, is it eventually boils down to cash flows.
Yes.
Right? The established brick and mortar guys like Lalitji and others in the business have the cash flows, so it's easier for them to go into online. The online guys are funded by private equity. You made the point some time back about Nykaa shareholders not being happy when they went offline. That's the challenge, because at the end of the day, it's return on equity and capital employed, road to profitability, road to cash flows. That's all that's important.
I think the startup world has learned their lesson on this particular thing, because buying customers, buying revenue and doing M&A, that is not the path. So I think path to profitability is well established now. And I would say that even though omni-channel approach really started some time back, this particular space is still noisy, and there will be some evolution of this particular sector to really separate the men from the boys, to get the right fit of that omni-channel approach. Thank you so much, Lalit Agarwal, as well as Rahul Arora, for joining us on this riveting discussion, and many, many big announcements coming in the retail space as the sector really evolves in the new age space. With that, it's a wrap on Big Deal. Thanks so much.